Elcor, supreme strategist of the Zenthari Dominion, stood in his command chamber aboard the dreadnought Crucible of Dawn, flanked by two of his finest tacticians. The starfield outside was unmarred, until the captured Terran vessel blinked into real space like a wound torn through the fabric of the stars. "Secure it," Velcor commanded. "Contain the females. Begin the behavioral scans." The females. 5 human women, plucked from a Terran science vessel during what the Zenthari assumed would be an effortless interdiction. Minimal resistance. Predictable patterns. Unarmed biologicals. The Dominion had made its calculations and dismissed them as irrelevant. That was the last time they would underestimate a human, especially a woman. Inside the stasis hold, Lieutenant Kara Miles blinked awake. She'd been drugged, shackled, and wired into a biometric suppressor grid. The Zenthari were efficient, cold, detached, but utterly oblivious to what they had just done. Kara wasn't just any officer. She was Task Force Sentinel, Tier 3 clearance, Black Ops trained, field decorated twice on Mars and once during the Phobos massacre. And she was very, very pissed. She looked around. 4 other women were beginning to stir. Dr. Imani Rojas, linguist and xenoanthropologist. Sergeant Nyla Chin, orbital paratrooper. Ensign Danny Reyes, tech prodigy. And Lieutenant Commander Alia Ward, a ship pilot with more kills than confirmed medals. "I hope they enjoyed breathing," Kara muttered, wrenching her shoulder against the suppressor field just enough to test its give. Because someone's about to stop. Across the Dominion's broadcast net, the news was broadcast with arrogance. Terran extraction successful. 5 specimens captured. Humanity to respond diplomatically, if at all. They assumed Earth would be reasonable. Back in the Milky Way's third arm, Fleet Admiral Jerome Beckett watched the intercepted Zenthari footage on repeat. No audio. Just the image of Kara, restrained, her face bloodied but defiant. "You know who that is?" Beckett asked. "Yes, sir. Kara Miles." Then the Dominion just put a nuke in their own living room. On the Zenthari dreadnought, things went sideways fast. Dr. Rojas, pretending confusion, began scribbling erratic linguistic glyphs on the floor of their cell using a torn-off piece of equipment. Sergeant Chin, using a yoga breathing pattern, slowed her heart rate enough to temporarily disable the bio-cuffs. And Kara? She dislocated her own thumb, twisted her wrist out of the shackle, and jammed a piece of snapped alien polymer into the locking sequence. The field buzzed and dropped. "Time to remind the galaxy why you don't touch Earth's daughters," she growled. 2 guards came through the hatch. Tall, insectoid, armored like living tanks. They never even saw it coming. Kara took one down in 3 seconds, shattered its windpipe with a boot to the thorax. Nyla used its own weapon, something like a plasma halberd, to disembowel the second. The hallway was clear. "Ward, you're on Nav Reyes. I want you in their system like a ghost. Rojas, get me a map of this floating tomb." They moved with military grace, slipping into the bowels of the Crucible of Dawn. Floor by floor they turned prison into battlefield. Elsewhere the Zenthari began to panic. "Why is the gravity in Sector 6 failing? Report of biological breach, cell block 9. Impossible. The suppression fields have failed." Velcor's mandibles clicked in fury. "Get me orbital command. Initiate failsafe lockdown." But it was already too late. Reyes had rewritten their security tiers, issuing full override permissions to a false identity, Commander Vengeance. Doors opened where they should have closed. Fire suppression systems pumped oxygen into flame. Bridge control locked up in recursive loops. And on every screen flashed one line of English. "You laid hands on our own. There will be no peace." Back on Earth, response was decisive. Special Ops Command initiated protocol. Ember Sky, a retaliatory doctrine so aggressive it had previously been considered theoretical. 20 deep space dreadnoughts activated from black site orbits. 6 sleeper agents hidden in the Dominion's embassies went live. And Project Nemesis, an AI housed inside an asteroid that Earth never admitted existed, was unleashed into the interstellar net. Humanity didn't debate, didn't negotiate. They moved like a knife sliding between ribs. Meanwhile, the 5 women reached the armory. And that's when things got bloody. Kara slipped into a set of alien exormer. It didn't quite fit, but she made it fit. Nyla used 2 plasma sides as if born to them. Ward rewired a Zenthari shuttle and turned it into a mobile gun platform. Inside the hangar, they opened fire, stormed the command decks, and silenced every shrieking officer with grim precision. Dr. Rojas? She spent the whole time speaking into the comms in perfect Zenthari dialect. She was broadcasting. Not threats. Warnings. Return the women. Or lose your future. By the time Velcor realized the Terrans weren't just escaping, they were seizing his ship, it was too late. He rushed the command deck only to see Kara, her armor dripping blue alien blood, seated in his chair. Velcor, she said with a smile. "Wanna guess how many of your crew are still breathing?" He lunged. She shot him in the throat. Wrong answer. The corpse of Supreme Strategist Velcor hit the deck with a heavy thud, mandibles twitching once before stilling forever. Lieutenant Kara Miles stood over him, smoke drifting from the barrel of the alien rifle she'd repurposed. "Bridge is ours," she said, tapping her earpiece. "Reyes, status on command locks?" Reyes' voice crackled through the comm, "Internal grid's ours. External comms still jammed, but I've got fire control, shield ops, and most of their internal schematics. Kara, this ship's insane. It has a spinal-mounted cannon the size of a Titan-class railgun. Not for long. Strip it, turn it, then point it at home." She turned to Rojas. "You said you spoke their tongue. Can you broadcast again?" Dr. Rojas stood at the terminal, already translating. Her voice came through every hallway, every system interface, every docking pylon attached to the Crucible of Dawn. "This ship belongs to Earth now. Flee while you still can." In the hangar bays, Nyla, Chen and Ward were creating chaos with surgical precision. Ward had rewired a captured Zenthri bomber and was now piloting it through internal docking corridors, strafing patrol nodes while cackling like a banshee. Nyla, leaping from wreck to wreck, left blue-skinned warriors in bloody heaps. It wasn't just revenge. It was a message. Across the Dominion's sphere of influence, their fleet stirred. War councils convened emergency sessions, projecting the situation on holocharts. The humans had taken a dreadnought. Not destroyed. Not sabotaged. Taken. And worse, it was being piloted by 5 Terran women who, by all accounts, should have been helpless. One counselor stood slowly. "Where are our forces?" "Scattered. Spread thin. 2 in the Athari Nebula, 1 blockaded at Garth Prime. None within a parsec of Crucible of Dawn. Recall them. Now." Now. But they were already too late. Earth's response had arrived. The Black Site dreadnoughts, known in whispers as the Null Choir, had emerged from stealth. No registration. No hailing frequencies. They formed a semi-orbital phalanx around the Dominion's border worlds. A single message was broadcast from all of them simultaneously. "You have touched the daughters of Terra. This is your only warning." Back aboard the dreadnought, Reyes had disabled most of the ship's AI constraints. The Dominion liked control, predictability, redundant systems that could never be overtaken by outside forces. Unfortunately for them, Reyes was the exception. Trained by DARPA at 16. Cyber warfare prodigy. She didn't break firewalls, she redefined them. The ship's internal AI now recognized her as first voice. She renamed the dreadnought Retribution. In the command center, Kara adjusted to the rhythm of alien control layouts. She wasn't a pilot, but Ward was. With Reyes guiding them through architecture translation and Chen running defensive sweeps, they turned the Zenthri's pride into a Terran war platform. "Any sign of incoming?" Kara asked. "Several ships just jumped in," Rojas said. "Frigates. Escorts. No capital vessels yet. Looks like they're hoping to overwhelm us before reinforcements show." Kara smiled coldly. "Let them." The first wave arrived, 6 Dominion attack frigates, bristling with plasma lances and boarding pods. Ward, Chen, clear the launch decks. Let's give them a proper hello. It was an ambush, but not the kind the Dominion expected. As the frigates closed distance, the Retribution lit up. Its spinal cannon tore 2 vessels in half. Chen had loaded magnetic mines into every airlock and jettisoned them like high-velocity caltrops. 2 more ships were shredded in seconds. The 5th ship tried a flanking maneuver. Ward caught it in a tractor snare, twisted its orientation, and used it as a shield against the 6th. The resulting explosion could be seen from orbit. Not a single human casualty. Back in the Dominion homeworld, panic was beginning to spread. The Council scrambled to organize a narrative. "This is an isolated incident," said one counselor. "No. This is a declaration," growled another. "They don't just want the ship. They want us to suffer. And they will make sure every species watches." On board the Retribution, the women stood in silence, watching the last Dominion frigate drift dead in space. "No more?" Kara asked. "Scanners show empty for 3 parsecs," Reyes confirmed. "They've retreated." "Good." Kara turned to the others. "This isn't just payback," she said. This is war on our terms. Earth didn't send us here. But they're watching now. We finished this. They stormed the last remaining secured decks. Found Zen-3 officers cowering in sanctuaries. Rojas offered surrender options in their own language. Most refused. Chen didn't ask twice. Finally, with the ship under full control, Kara stood at the command dais and activated full bandwidth communication. She recorded one message, broadcast into every frequency the Dominion used. This is Kara Miles of Earth. You kidnapped 5 unarmed Terran women. Now your dreadnought belongs to us. If you want it back, come take it. But understand this, every second you wait, every whisper you speak, we are teaching this ship your secrets. Your tactics. Your weaknesses. You should have killed us when you had the chance. But you didn't. You captured human women. Congratulations. You just signed your death warrant. The message had traveled faster than any Dominion warship ever could. Kara's voice, grim and defiant, played on every Dominion outpost, civilian trade lane, and military relay before the Council could issue even a partial blackout. The image of 5 human women standing defiantly at the helm of a stolen dreadnought sent shockwaves through 100 worlds. To the Dominion it was a humiliation. To the galaxy? A revelation. And to Earth? A flare. Back aboard the Retribution, Kara paced the deck, her boots ringing against the alloy that had once groaned under Zen-3 command. The bridge was quiet except for the rhythmic ticking of system readouts and the low hum of energy transfer nodes. Status, she said to Reyes, eyes scanning the tactical overlay. All internal systems locked to us. Core reactors stable. AI integration is now at 97% compliance under Earth Standard Interface. In English. Reyes grinned. It thinks like us now. Chin walked in, face slick with oil and blood. Security sectors purged. Every last Zen-3 on board is dead or locked in containment. Rojas added from a station near the starboard alcove, those in containment are not resisting. It's like they've accepted death. Ward stretched with a groan. We're not done yet. You saw that rally beacon, they're assembling a counterforce. Kara nodded. Then we go hunting. Elsewhere, in the hidden chambers of the Dominion War Council, panic had fermented into fury. Supreme Chancellor Therask screamed across a table of advisors, mandibles twitching and voice screeching. 1 ship. 5 humans. And you let them gut us like children? One of the sub-chancellors raised a trembling claw. We didn't think they could interface with our systems. That vessel's AI should have been. Your shoots are burying us. Every border colony is rebelling, emboldened by that damn broadcast. Another general spoke. We're not just losing ships. We're losing fear. And fear was the glue that held our supremacy. Then you rebuild fear, Therask snapped. Scramble all high vessels. Prepare a kill net. Find that ship. I want their heads in a box, and I want it broadcast. 3 days later, at the edge of the Arathon Rift, the Retribution drifted silently, dark in every spectrum. Reyes had buried it in a halo of asteroid reflections, scattering heat and signal echoes like ghostlight. Kara sat at the helm, reviewing hyperspace telemetry. They're surrounding the rift, Reyes murmured. Forming a pinch net, 50 capital ships, countless destroyers, 3 carriers. They know we're here. Let them come, Kara whispered. Ward cocked an eyebrow. That's not strategy. That's suicide. No. That's bait. The trap. While the Dominion believed they were hunting, the women were laying groundwork. Rojas had used Dominion subspace channels to leak false positions. Strategic outposts, hidden rebel strongholds, secret Earth colonies. None of it real. All of it intentional. Chen and Ward had outfitted the Retribution with every piece of Dominion ordnance they could modify. Auto-deploying minefields. EMP-tuned torpedoes. Hull-piercing drones programmed with human aggression. Reyes had reprogrammed the ship's secondary AI with a looping command. Fight as if your sisters are burning. When the Dominion's net collapsed, it found not a helpless stolen dreadnought, but a nightmare engineered by humans. The Retribution fired first. Its spinal cannon ignited like a god's spear through the darkness, splitting a Dominion carrier into incandescent shrapnel. Mines tore through frigate lines like locusts. The dreadnought danced, a move no Dominion ship was built for, and laid waste to the net. On board, the women didn't panic, didn't scream. They moved as one, each trusting the other to cover gaps, to execute the impossible. Kara's voice echoed again, broadcast on the Dominion's own frequency. You sent a fleet to slaughter 5 women. We sent back your bones. Casualty reports flooded the Dominion command hierarchy. Of 50 capital ships, Only 12 remained intact. The carriers were gone. The dreadnought, the one they thought they could recapture, was now plunging into hyperspace again with surgical precision. Thrask shattered a view screen with a slash of his claw. "They're not soldiers," he snarled. "They're demons." Aftermath. The Retribution resurfaced in orbit above what used to be a Dominion-controlled labor moon. The prisoners, mostly abducted citizens from fringe worlds, watched with disbelief as the stolen dreadnought hovered silently above their broken sky. Kara's team landed. Rojas translated. Chin freed the guards first, then handed them weapons. "You were slaves. Now you're soldiers." Ward walked through the facility tossing Dominion banners into fire. Reyes uploaded a transmission tower. "The Dominion lies. Earth fights. Choose." The revolt spread in hours. In a dark chamber on Mars, Earth's Black Ops Command reviewed the data feed. Admiral Harlan exhaled slowly. This wasn't an op. This was vengeance wrapped in strategy. The tech beside him turned. "Sir, permission to reach out? To them?" He smirked. "They just changed the war." The stars around planet Virex burned bright with warning. That's where Kara and her team reappeared, no longer ghosts of vengeance but legends carried on the pulses of shattered Dominion fleets and liberated colonies. The Retribution now bore scars, deep rents in its flanks, patched hulls and blackened burn marks across her dorsal side. Yet still she moved, prowling the stars like a stalking predator, and still her crew of 5 human women pushed forward, far beyond any original rescue op. This wasn't retaliation anymore. It was erasure. The Council cracks. Deep in the Dominion core worlds, Supreme Chancellor Thrask now sat silent in a war chamber lined with scorched tapestries, remnants of better, more confident times. Reports flickered across holograms in sickening waves. Outpost 331 lost. Station Dareth overrun. Sector 9 refugees armed by humans. Dominion defectors joining rebel human fleets. Entire civilian transports broadcasting Kara's speech as gospel. And then the worst one. One of our admirals defected to her side. He cited human honor as his reason. Thrask stood up, antennae twitching violently. "Then we do what we've always done." "Extermination?" a counselor asked meekly. "No," Thrask hissed, voice low with ancient hatred. "We don't kill them. We capture more." The second mistake. The Dominion made their move. They raided a human-forward colony, smaller, newer, unguarded. They expected chaos. What they got was silence. Because no one there begged. No one pleaded. Instead they smiled. Smiled with the certainty of bait in a well-laid trap. 3 Dominion warships captured 8 women alive, among them medics, mechanics, and a 19-year-old engineer who had lost her father in the first skirmishes of this hidden war. That last girl's name was Tara. She asked only one question as they bound her in restraint gel aboard the Dominion destroyer Reckoning. "Does she know?" The captain sneered. "Oh, that pirate." Tara just smiled. "Good," she said. "Then you're already dead." They came from the stars. Within 20 minutes, an emergency distress beacon tore across enemy space. The Reckoning had been reduced to molten slag. Not from weapons. From within. The ship's reactor went critical after unknown sabotage, its safety protocols overridden in a language the Dominion couldn't decipher, human sarcasm embedded in virus code. There were no survivors. Kara didn't just save Tara. She broadcast the rescue live. Her voice came with it, cold as the void. "You still think this is about revenge? It's not. You made the mistake of touching our own. Now we're just cleaning house." The protocol is activated. The Earth military hadn't sanctioned it. In fact, their official stance was one of limited intervention. But the Human Mercy Protocol was never official. It was cultural. Spoken in bars. Taught in orphanages. Carried by veterans of every off-world skirmish. It wasn't just Kara's idea. It had lived long before her. She simply had the audacity to name it. "We leave one alive so every corner of the galaxy will fear our name." So far, every system Kara liberated had one consistent trait. A single surviving Dominion witness. Scarred. Broken. Left alive. On purpose. The last broadcast. A Dominion fleet amassed over the gas giant Coronus. A final bastion, 10,000 ships strong, thousands of Dominion elites ready for an all-out endgame. And the Retribution arrived alone. 1 ship. 5 women. The fleet laughed. Then it screamed. Because the Retribution didn't come to win. It came to activate. From beneath the Coronus rings, 5 other dreadnoughts emerged, commandeered Dominion vessels that Kara's team had remotely triggered, each run by rogue Dominion AI cores reprogrammed by human code. They weren't just dreadnoughts. They were echoes of the same rage. The sky turned black. Coronus turned red. The final witness was spared, a young Dominion ensign who had fought bravely, whose eyes met Kara's across shattered glass in the wreckage of a fallen cruiser. She let him crawl. Let him see. Tell them, Kara whispered through open comms. Tell them what happens when you come for our daughters. Months later. The war didn't end. But the Dominion did. Fragmented. Broken. Their once feared fleets now scavengers fleeing when even a single human vessel pinged on long-range scans. Children in outer systems whispered legends of the Five. Some said Kara didn't even exist anymore. Others believed she had become the AI of the Retribution itself, eternal and merciless. The truth? Didn't matter. Final message from Earth. A soft-spoken admiral stood at the edge of a news feed transmitted to every known system. He didn't smile. He didn't threaten. He just said, "We tried to be polite. But when that didn't work, we became something else. If you have our people, return them. If you plan to take more, remember this. We leave one alive. But not always." Then the feed ended. But not before a simple phrase flickered in every galactic tongue. Subscribe to the void. And remember who taught the stars to fear again.